Do you know what your soul's purpose is? And are you living in your soul's purpose? Well, if you've answered yes to these questions, that's amazing. But we're in a part 3 of a series on identifying your soul's purpose and living out your soul's purpose. And this part is a continuation of blocks that may be preventing you from uncovering and discovering your soul's purpose, as well as living your soul's purpose. And in this particular teaching, I'm going to share with you about 4 major blocks that I wasn't able to cover in the previous video that may be preventing you from living the life that you were meant to live. And in working with my clients, my spiritual guidance clients, as well as their Reiki healing touch and spiritual mentoring, I have discovered these major blocks that prevent us all from discovering our soul's purpose and living on purpose. So as we go into this 3rd part in the series, I am going to go over some other major blocks that may be preventing you from living such as that life that you were meant to live. One of the things that I have found with myself and other clients is comparison. When we make comparisons, we may feel very, very called to play the piano. We want to play the piano, we want to create music. And we start and we feel this stirring in our soul, but we start to make comparisons. We start to say, oh, I'll never play like Elton John, or I'll never play like Billy Joel. And I've tried this technique, but it just doesn't seem that I could ever be that type of a player, or a virtuoso, or a Mozart, or a Chopin. But I'm going to tell you, you never will be, and they never will be you. And that's not the point, and that's not the purpose. You are a unique, individualized expression of God. And what you want to do in your calling, and we're using the example of playing the piano, is be the best you that you can be. Now, you can be inspired by Elton John. I know I am. And you can be inspired by Mozart or Bach or Billy Joel in your piano playing and your techniques, but that's different than comparing yourself and holding yourself up to a perfectionistic standard. That's a block. That's a block to your abundance, and that's a block to living your soul's purpose. So we want to identify that. Once we identify that and we realize that us, you, me, we are unique and we're a one-of-a-kind find, and we want to keep in that place. The other block that I have discovered with so many of my clients is tradition. Tradition can be such a wonderful thing, and I value so many of my family's traditions. But tradition, when it blocks you from discovering and living out your soul's purpose, well, then there's the negative side to tradition. Tradition can be used to block you, and I don't think it's ever intentional. But say you are called, you're female, and you're called to clergy, you're called to teach spirituality, and it's been your family's generational values that women are just not a part of clergy. They just don't go in to the calling of being spiritual teachers or reverends or pastors. Well, and you say to yourself, I love to do that. That's what I'm being called to do that. But traditionally, we just don't do that. Traditionally, my family doesn't do that. We just don't do that in our family. And tradition can become so blind over the generations that we don't even know anymore why. We just do it because we've always done things a certain way. So if you can identify that tradition may possibly be a block for you, then you can step out of that role that you were playing, that story that you were living in, and really listen and connect with God in your heart and start to follow that place that is your soul's purpose. I'm going to look at my notes also. I also know that we fear so many of us, when we discover our soul's purpose, one of our blocks to actually pursuing it is we're afraid to make mistakes, because this is our soul's purpose. We've made the discovery. This is the big one, but we're so afraid to make mistakes. Well, I'm here to tell you, you're gonna make mistakes. We all make mistakes. We're human. So if you've discovered your soul's purpose, but you're afraid to pursue it because you're afraid to make a mistake, you're holding yourself to a standard of perfection that's an illusion. It's never gonna happen. And sadly to say, you will not pursue and live in your soul's purpose. And sometimes our mistakes are the very thing that make us so beautiful and so unique and so one of a kind. So know that you'll make mistakes. You're gonna have to push through the fear of making mistakes if this is one of your blocks. But you can do that because your soul's purpose is calling to you, and it's such a wonderful and beautiful thing. So I don't want you to miss pursuing your soul's purpose due to the fact that you're afraid to make a mistake. And Edison, I forget how many times that he tried before he actually invented the electric light. Wow, think about it. I think it was something like 1,000 times. It's an incredible amount of times of making a mistake till he finally got to that great invention that you see all around us. So dare to make mistakes, because that's just the part of it. That's the way that goes. And let me go for my notes again. I know that this is probably the last block that I'm going to touch on for now in this series, as we go to the next part of this series to help you actually tear some of the blocks we've gone over. But we fear change. I think it's natural and human to fear change. And we can be in a situation that's very, very uncomfortable. It's very, very oppressive. It's very much not a part of our soul's journey and our soul's purpose, but we're afraid to change. And on some level, we are comfortable in that situation and would rather stay comfortable. There's a saying that we won't change until our pain becomes greater than our fear. Kind of like when the butterfly is in its cocoon stage. It's warm and comfortable, even though it knows that it's not its final journey. When that pain supersedes the fear, then it pushes through and out of the cocoon to become a butterfly. And so what you have to do is say, how much pain am I in by staying in my comfort zone? And if you're not in enough pain, sadly to say, you'll probably stay in that comfort zone. But when you become challenged enough to be in pain to say, I don't want to stay here anymore, then you're going to tear that block down. You're going to take that change and you're going to make a step out of your comfort zone. And that's what I want for you if that is one of your blocks. So you want to take a slow but sure step in the direction of becoming all that you can be. And I wouldn't do it quickly. But sometimes we let ourselves go to that far point where we almost have to do it quickly, like the butterfly coming out of the cocoon. Thank you so very much for spending your time with me today, and I hope that you've taken notes. And if you haven't, please go back over this video, take notes. In our last part of this series on uncovering and discovering your soul's purpose, we're going to go over some practical, spiritual, and definite techniques that will help you take down and destroy these blocks that are preventing you from living on purpose and just being the person that you were meant to be. Thank you so much. And if you've enjoyed my share, please press the subscribe button and let me know how you're doing on this journey of your soul's purpose. I want to know your challenges. I want to know your victories and your triumphs. They're so important. They encourage all of us. And as we get those down in the comment section, then we can encourage one another and build one another up. And until the next time, may God bless you and your families.